Hey everyone, it's Alexander Robinson. Welcome to the channel, and Merry Christmas. It is December 25th. It is that oh so famous holiday, and today I'm going to be giving you my list of my 12 favorite Christmas movies and TV specials. So let's just jump right into it. If you've been following my channel for the past 10 years, then you know back in 2013 I made a list of my favorite Halloween movies and TV specials to watch and my favorite Christmas movies and TV specials to watch. Last October I made a revised version of my Halloween list, so I figured it's only appropriate for me to do a revised version of my Christmas list. And I have 12 picks overall, but they are divided between TV shows and specials and movies. So 6 apiece, and I think I'm going to start things off with the TV specials, because movies are more of my wheelhouse, so I figured it'd be best to save that for last. So without any further ado, let's kick this list off with my 6 favorite Christmas TV specials. Number 6. Ed, Edd and Eddy's Jingle Jingle Jangle. Ed and Eddy has always been a TV show that I loved as a kid growing up. In fact, I still love it today as a 32-year-old man. I just think it's infinitely clever, wacky, and just the best thing Cartoon Network has made. And their Christmas special was something that I didn't even know existed until the day it aired. And it is very much an Ed and Eddy special. It's wacky, it's charming. Even though the plot of this special is that Eddy's trying to get himself adopted by other families so he can get anything but clothes for Christmas. It's kind of cynical in nature when you think about it, but of course it doesn't work out in Eddy's favor, rightfully so, but it's still fun enough and charming enough to make it a priority every year for me, even if it's very scarce in terms of availability. Number 5. The Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. This is still relatively new, but for me, it's effective enough to be in rotation for my favorite Christmas movies and TV specials. Because I love the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and I love what Marvel did with Werewolf by Night in terms of making a successful Halloween special. And with this, both Marvel and James Gunn have successfully made a great Christmas special that hits me on a more emotional core than some of the other recent TV specials. Sure, you have some outrageously comedic moments like Drax and Mantis on Hollywood Boulevard, getting shit-faced, kidnapping Kevin Bacon as a Christmas present to Peter Quill. It's got its share of comedic moments, but I feel like the end of the special really hits home when all the Guardians just give each other Christmas gifts, and there's the realization that Mantis is technically Peter Quill's sister. That ending line where Peter tells Mantis that her being his sister is the best Christmas present he could possibly get really hit hard, because it just shows how important the family matter is during this time of the year, and anybody who's able to spend the holiday time with their family should really not take that for granted. So it really works for me. And yes, I do know that Marvel does have Iron Man 3 and the Hawkeye series, but the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special just fits more perfectly for me this time of year. Number 4. Rudolph the Rednose Reindeer. Now we're getting into the more familiar Christmas specials, the ones that have spanned for generations. And in terms of the Rankin Bass Christmas specials, this has always been my favorite. I actually didn't grow up with Frosty the Snowman, and Santa Claus is Coming to Town is good, but I don't watch it as much as I do Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It's pretty much the pinnacle of classic stop-motion Christmas specials. It's jittery, it's choppy, but it's charming in its own way. The songs are great, the characters are a lot of fun, it's got some very funny moments throughout, and the Abominable Snowman scares the hell out of me every time he pops up. Even as a grown adult, the Abominable Snowman still scares me, especially when he's missing his teeth. And yes, some people have been a little cynical towards this special, when looking at it and going, hey, if you have something that's abnormal from everyone else, then they'll take advantage of you at the end of the day. That's the cynical way to look at that. I prefer to look at it as, hey, don't make fun of the different kid, because sooner or later, that kid that you thought was weird is going to end up being the one that saves your ass. That's the way I look at it, but overall, it's a very charming special and one of the greats. Number 3. Abeds' Uncontrollable Christmas from Community. Y'all know how much I love this show. Even though I haven't done a proper review for it since the series ended, I always fall back on Community as my comfort show. And the holiday specials that they've done are just so good. The zombie episode they did with the ABBA music is fantastic, and they made an excellent Christmas special with this stop-motion animated episode. Much like with the Guardians holiday special, this one hits me because Abed is pretty much alone during the holidays. He's not going to see his mom during the holidays this time around, so he kind of goes into a stop-motion world while the other characters around him are trying to help him out, knowing at the end of the day that he does have his own family to spend the holidays with. And of course, this being a tribute to the old Rankin Bass holiday specials like Rudolph that I just mentioned earlier, the stop-motion animation is well done, it's charming, it's creative, and it just fills me with a warm feeling at the end of the day. I always felt attached to the study group as if I was one of them, and this episode is no exception from the rest of the great Community episodes. Number 2. A Charlie Brown Christmas. This might be the most classic Christmas special out there. Everybody knows this inside and out. The music is great, the characters are very much charming, and it was the one that pretty much put Peanuts on the map beyond the comic strips. Charlie Brown is such a relatable character, especially within this special, because he just doesn't understand what's so great about Christmas. He's miserable a lot of the time, which I feel like can speak to a lot of people who just don't understand why people get so festive around the holiday season. I am not one of those people myself, but it is good every once in a while to kind of realize that, yeah, it's not about like the flashy lights, the massive trees, or the presents and stuff. It's about something more. And that moment in the special when Linus recites the Bible could never be done today because there's always such a corporate look at what Christmas is about rather than realizing, oh yeah, Jesus was born that day. I really love this special. I reviewed it 5 years ago along with the other Peanuts holiday specials, and it honestly wouldn't be Christmas without Charlie Brown. Number 1. How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the Chuck Jones animated short from the 1960s. This has always been my favorite Christmas special since the first day I saw it. But the Grinch just does so much more for me. For one, it's Chuck Jones, whose work on Looney Tunes is of course legendary. His animation in this special is just perfection. He gets the look of Dr. Seuss down, who Dr. Seuss himself actually wrote the script for the special. Boris Karloff will always be my favorite Grinch, not just in terms of his voice, but the way he himself is animated. And the songs are iconic, and I love the ending of this special. I do love how, despite the fact that the Grinch stole the Who's Christmas trees, gifts, decorations, and food, they still went out and sung Welcome Christmas. They still celebrated as a group, and that just... I love how that irks the Grinch so much before he comes to the realization that Christmas doesn't come from a store and that Christmas perhaps means a little bit more. I know a lot of people will go to Jim Carrey's Grinch, but I flat out hate that movie. I did a review for it in 2020, so I don't need to go into full rant mode about that movie here. But the Chuck Jones animated special is still a Christmas classic for me till the end of my life. And there you go, those are my top 6 favorite Christmas specials. And now it's time to head into the second half of this list, my top 6 favorite Christmas movies. Number 6. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I have not seen any of the other vacation movies, and this is the only one of them I've seen, and it certainly was a great first impression to this series of comedy films. The jokes hit incredibly well. Chevy Chase is so funny as this dad who's just trying to make the best Christmas he can possibly make, but things just don't go the way he wants them to. There's tons of chaos. This movie pretty much embodies the frustrations of trying to make a great Christmas for your family. Something that I know I'm probably going to have to endure at some point in my life. So might as well get ready for it. But no, this movie is just great all around. It's classic. This is a movie that I so desperately want to review at some point in the future because I think there's a lot to talk about. If you haven't seen it, then go check it out. Number 5. It's a Wonderful Life. This has always been my favorite Frank Capra-Jimmy Stewart collaboration, and I think for most people, because it's such a classic tale that has been done so many times in other movies and TV shows. The whole, what if I never existed? How would other people live if I wasn't in their lives? And it just moves me every time I watch it. The performances are flat out fantastic. Jimmy Stewart is, of course, as great as he always is, and the ending just never fails to make me cry. I saw it this past weekend at the newly opened Egyptian Theater, and that ending still gets to me because it is that powerful. It's also one of the more inspirational stories out there. Like, if you are down in the dumps, especially during this time of the year, like, don't fall down the path of, I wish I never existed, because you really have no idea of how much you have impacted other people's lives. Even if you may not feel like it, there are other people around you that go, yeah, this person meant something to me. So it's just a sign that take life for what it is and treat it as precious as anything in the world. Number 4, Die Hard. Of course this movie had to make the list, because it's one of the greatest action movies of the 1980s. The plot is pretty much about a cop trying to save his wife at a Christmas party. It takes place during the Christmas time and ends with a Christmas song, so of course it has to be a Christmas movie. And it's just a great film all around. But there are a couple reasons why this movie is not number 1 for me, like it is for so many other people. Number 1, I think Predator is a better action movie than this, also directed by John McTiernan. Number 2, it still really bugs me that they use the Alien score at the end of this film when the last bad guy is killed. It just takes me out of it for a bit. And 3, the most obvious one, there are other Christmas movies that I would watch over this any time of the day, but that isn't meant to diminish how great Die Hard is. It is an excellent action movie with some great characters, memorable lines, and it fits perfectly well with the holiday season, regardless of how many people want to argue against it being a Christmas movie, which it is. Let's stop that argument. It is a Christmas movie. Number 3, Gremlins. The first time I ever saw this movie was during Halloween, because I heard it was a horror comedy. I had not seen it beforehand, so I thought, well, I need to get a horror comedy vibe in me this Halloween season, so I'll pick Gremlins. And watching it, I realized I probably should have saved this for Christmas. This is probably my favorite unconventional Christmas movie, because it's essentially a monster movie. These tiny little monsters terrorizing a town, causing all kinds of mayhem, but it has a lot of Christmas elements to it. For one, Gizmo is a Christmas gift to the main character. The movie is just bathed in snow and feels like Christmas with every single frame. And there's also that infamous monologue that Phoebe Cates delivers when she talks about how she realized there's no Santa. Some people are laughing at it because it's so far out of left field, but it actually hits me in a way. Like the idea that this wonderful time of the year could also bring in a sense of tragedy. So it's a monologue that really does work for me. I never saw Gremlins 2. I'd like to watch it at some point, but for me, Gremlins will continue being an instant Christmas classic. Number 2, The Muppet Christmas Carol. I feel like when it comes to people and their definitive version of what a Christmas Carol is to them, it would usually be the first movie they saw at a young age. And for me, The Muppet Christmas Carol is my definitive Christmas Carol retelling. Despite being a Muppet movie at the end of the day, it has a lot of elements pulled from the book. It can be creepy at points, while also managing to have a good balance between the Charles Dickens book and the Muppet vibe. However, I don't feel like this movie could have been what it is without Michael Caine's performance as Scrooge. He is truly one of the greatest actors out there. Even though he's retired, you know instantly that Michael Caine is an amazing actor just because he's in a Muppet movie interacting with Kermit the Frog, Fozzie Bear, Dr. Bunsen Honeydew, and Beaker, and so many other crazy Muppet characters, but he treats them like other actors. He is playing the role of Scrooge as seriously as possible, and I feel like this movie would never have worked any other way. Michael Caine continues to be my favorite Scrooge. This continues to be my favorite version of A Christmas Carol. The songs are great. It has some heartfelt moments at the end. I absolutely love it. Number 1, The Nightmare Before Christmas. Much like with Gremlins, I first saw this movie around the Halloween time, except this made a little more sense because a lot of people consider this to be a Halloween movie and a Christmas movie, but for me, I never get a Halloween vibe from it. It always feels like a Christmas movie to me, mainly because it's more about Christmas than it is Halloween. Like the first 3 minutes of the movie is the ending of Halloween, and then it segues into the Christmas season. But whatever the case, I don't want to get into that debate on whether this movie's a Halloween or a Christmas movie, because whatever your preference is, it's a great movie regardless. The stop motion animation is just truly spectacular. It broke new grounds in terms of a new style of stop motion. Henry Selick's direction is fantastic. The songs by Danny Elfman are iconic. Not just the songs, but also his musical score. It's very short, and while I wish it had gone on for a little bit longer, this movie never overstays its welcome, and for me it is such a joy to watch. And I also find it funny how my favorite Christmas TV special is The Grinch, and yet Jack Skellington as a character is pretty much the anti-Grinch because he absolutely loves Christmas. There's not much else to say. This is truly one of my favorite movies of all time. It's my go-to Christmas movie every year, and it's just instantly classic all around. And there you go, those are my 6 favorite Christmas movies. There were a few movies and specials that I wanted to include on this list but just couldn't, like Mickey's Christmas Carol, The Muppet Family Christmas, Anna and the Apocalypse, White Christmas. So many choices to pick from for me, but I figured to narrow it down to 12 between movies and specials. So thank you guys for watching this video. I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate this time of the year. Happy holidays, and I hope you make it the best you can possibly make it. 2023 has honestly been a pretty rough year for me, but making videos on this channel as well as my travel channel makes it all the worthwhile. So I hope you guys take care of yourselves for the remainder of the year. There will be plenty more videos coming up on this channel before the new year. And until then, I want to know what you guys think about this list and what are your favorite Christmas movies and TV specials. Whatever the case may be, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell button to get notifications. You can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Letterboxd, Threads. I'll see you guys in the next video. But until then, have a good day, take care of yourselves, and happy holidays.